All right, first let's check out the products from Dollar Tree that we're going to be using for this cheap, easy, and healthy meal prep. All right, we're going to be using 1 bag of lentils. These are green lentils. We're going to be using 1 bag of the Omega brown rice. This is a natural long grain brown rice that is enriched with vitamins. So it does say to not rinse this rice before using it. So when you see me pour it into the pot, just know that it calls to not rinse it. Okay, then we're going to be using 3 frozen bags of vegetables. This is the pepper stir fry. It has yellow onions as well as bell peppers. Then we have a stir fry blend. This has broccoli, carrots, snap peas, and yellow bell peppers. This bag contains the Daily Dozen servings of broccoli, as well as vegetables and snap peas, which are a legume. Then we're going to be using the frozen broccoli as well, and that's also a cruciferous vegetable. And then we have a pack of this Parashore mixed vegetables that contains carrots, baby corn, legumes, snap peas, and potatoes. We're going to be using 1 can of the red gold petite diced tomatoes with green chilies and 1 can of the Goya black beans. So check out my video that I have shared in the description below where I share 19 healthy foods from the Dollar Tree, and I explained specifically why I chose these foods as perfect for the Daily Dozen. Some of the foods contain some funky ingredients at Dollar Tree, but these foods all contain very minimal ingredients, and I really did like them. All right, not included in the cost of these products here, which totaled $10, I am going to be using 2 different seasoning blends that I found at the Dollar Tree. These are optional. We're just going to be using a little bit from each container, so I didn't include them into the price. But we're going to be using the salt-free seasoning. Dr. Greger from the Daily Dozen, he does recommend a low sodium diet, so I thought this was great for seasoning some of the food without adding salt. And same thing with this one. This is a chili powder. It's packed with a bunch of different seasonings, and I think it'll give it a nice flavor. Then I am going to be using my favorite meal prep containers. These are meal prep containers by Bentgo. I like these because these are they have dividers in them. So this is a two-part container, and then this is a 3-part container. These are dishwasher machine friendly and last quite a long time. You could purchase these on Amazon in a pack of 10 or even bigger packs for very inexpensive. They're about $1 a piece, and I'll share a link in the description below for where to purchase those. So let's get started cooking. I'm going to share with you 9 cheap, easy, and healthy meals using just these few ingredients. Okay, and to prepare these meals, I am going to be using some cooking equipment, including a cooking spoon, a large measuring cup, as well as 3 different stainless steel pots with lids, and a steamer basket. So this brown rice we're going to cook in a pot. You can also use a rice cooker, but we're just going to follow the basic directions on the bag. It calls for, we're going to use the whole bag, so we're going to use 7.5 cups of water. The bag calls for the water to be boiled ahead of time before you add the rice, so we're going to do that first. And while we're waiting for the water to boil for the rice, we're going to start cooking our lentils as well. So the lentils, for 1 whole bag of lentils, we're going to use 8 cups of water. I'm going to pour that into my pot. Then I'm going to rinse my lentils. So I just went through and I rinsed these lentils a few times in some fresh water and looked through for any stones or anything that was not lentil. So these look good. I'm going to pour them into the pot with the water. Okay, on the back of the bag of the lentils, it does share a recipe, but we're just going to make this super simple. It's just going to be lentils, water with this salt-free seasoning simmered down. So I'm just going to do about 1/4 cup of this seasoning. If you have other seasonings like a bay leaf or garlic powder or something else, you can add that in here, but we're just going for quick, cheap, easy, and healthy, so we're going to do that salt-free seasoning with the lentils. Okay, and the directions just call for everything to be put into the pot. I'm just going to stir this around a little bit. It does say to cook these covered with a lid for 30 to 45 minutes. So we're going to just let those cook and portion them into our containers after it's cooled. Now our water's boiling for the rice. I'm going to go ahead and add this whole bag of rice. The directions say to bring it back to a boil, stir, and then cover it and cook for 20 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, I see some bubbles boiling here, so I'm going to put my lid back on. It's really important then that you reduce the heat to low, and then we're going to cook for 20 minutes covered. All right, now that we have our lentils cooking and our rice cooking, let's make some bean chili. This is just going to be a super quick and easy bean chili using the black beans, the tomatoes with green chilies, the onions and the bell peppers, along with chili powder. So let's go ahead and turn on our flame on this pot. I'm going to go ahead and add in this bag of peppers. We're going to go ahead and just use this entire bag because we want to not have to use it in another recipe. So this chili will have a lot of veggies in it. Then we're going to go ahead and add our can of tomatoes with green chilies. Those chilies will add like a nice flavor, and the tomatoes give it some acidity. Then we're going to add a can of black beans. This is 3.5 servings of legumes. So we're going to break this down into several meals. Now we're going to go ahead and add a teaspoon of the chili powder. Oh, I can't do that with one hand. All right, and there's our chili powder. You can always add more if you prefer a lot more flavoring. Then we're going to just cover this with enough water to make sure that all the ingredients are covered. And then we'll stir it a little bit. And then we'll just let this simmer down for about 25 to 30 minutes to let those flavors marry. Okay, while everything's cooking behind me, I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about why I chose these meals and these ingredients. So I follow the Daily Dozen dietary recommendations by Dr. Michael Greger from nutritionfacts.org. He recommends that we consume a variety of some of the most healthy, nutrient-dense foods every day. And those foods include legumes, whole grains, fruits, leafy greens, vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, flax seeds, nuts, berries, as well as herbs and spices, and exercise and water. So when I was planning this meal prep, I wanted to maximize the Daily Dozen items in each meal while minimizing the cost. So like I said earlier, my goal is to make 9 meals for just $10 using Dollar Tree ingredients. So I think we're going to get there, and we have everything's almost ready on the stove. It's taken less than an hour to meal prep all of these meals, and I'm excited to see how they turn out. All right, now the rice is done. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this heat and just show you how you can tell there's no water at the bottom anymore. So I'm just going to fluff this up a little bit. I'm going to put the lid back on, and the directions do say to let this sit for another 15 minutes with no heat on the stove. Okay, these lentils look good. They're really soft and tender. They're falling apart, which means that they're edible. So I went ahead and turned off the heat. I'm going to transfer these to a bowl to cool, and then I'm going to use this pot to steam some of the vegetables. These lentils look so good. I can't believe with just that basic seasoning and some water, I was able to simmer these lentils and actually get a lot of flavor into them. These are going to be served with some brown rice and some vegetables. These lentils are packed with fiber, iron, protein, and they're just such a really healthy food, which is why I can see why they're part of the Daily Dozen. And they're super cheap. That one bag had 10 servings of lentils for just $1.25 at the Dollar Tree. Okay, and our chili is looking pretty good. It's just been simmering for about 15 minutes. I'm going to let it continue to cook down so that some of this water can evaporate, and then I'm going to let it cool so we can portion it into our Bentgo meal prep containers. But look at that. Look how much nutrition is just in this one pot with the 1 can of beans, 1 can of tomatoes, and 1 bag of those frozen vegetables with some chili powder. And the last thing that we have to do for this meal prep is to steam some of the vegetables that are from the freezer. So I have a little bit of water boiling in my steamer pot. I'm going to put my steamer basket in there. And first we're going to steam this stir-fry blend for about 8 to 9 minutes according to the package directions. I'm going to put the lid on and let that cook. And the rice is done setting, so I'm going to remove the lid so that this can start to cool and we can portion it into our Bentgo meal prep containers. And the vegetables are finished steaming, so I'm going to take those out of the steamer basket and let them start to cool in a bowl so we can steam our broccoli. Okay, I also want to mention that after steaming or cooking any vegetables, you also want to rinse them in very cold water or in water that has ice in it to stop the cooking process. That will keep your vegetables from getting too mushy after you've cooked them. Now we'll go ahead and steam this broccoli for about 6 minutes. Okay, now that we have a lot of our food cooked and starting to cool, I'm going to start portioning the foods that are ready into my Bentgo meal prep containers. I've laid out all my containers. I have some notes here about which foods go into which spots. So let's start divvying everything up. Okay, and just the last thing we need to do is take our chili and our lentils and divvy them up into these containers, and then we've packaged 9 meals. Okay, now let's put our chili into the last compartments. Look at that chili, it turned out pretty good. Packed with veggies and legumes. This is great for the Daily Dozen. And there's no oil in this as well, so it's basically fat-free, which Dr. Greger really recommends. Low fat. All right, pretty good. Okay, so thanks for cooking with me tonight. That was really fun. We made 9 meals for just $10 using Dollar Tree ingredients. So I hope that you enjoyed cooking with me and like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.